So I'm working on a 2011, it's a Subaru Impreza WRX, and we're doing the clutch replacement on it. There's a bunch of just little things that I'm going to include in this video, and the first of which is going to be how to pop out a CV axle.
Brian's Mobile One.
On older Subarus you have a pin that goes through here that you got to drift out with a 5mm, 6mm drift, something like that. On these it's a little different. And by different, I mean the same as everyone else, especially Toyota. What you want to do is you want to pop out the ring. You want to put the pry bar in here, but you don't want to damage anything around the transmission. So what I do is I favor where the bolt is, and that bolt is tied into a whole bunch of other stuff and gives it more support. You know, basically use the bolt as a fulcrum. You just pop it. If it doesn't come the first time, get a little better bite on it and see how it came free that time. And then you can come out to here and pull it from there.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to click like and subscribe.
As for the other end of the axle, what I do is I take some spray paint and I spray paint the bolts on the strut first. And you can see there's a yellow tag line coming off of this one here. So I'll mark those so I know exactly where the bolt position was to the strut. That affects your camber, and that can affect, you know, a bunch of other stuff. You can see I got a little spray paint on the rest of it. Prevents rust, and it gives you a good witness mark of how it was. As for the nuts and everything on these, you got to hit those open. I've got a special chisel for that. So this is my special chisel that I've ground down on the bench grinder to fit into a CV axle slot. You can see the little slot right there. So it's made to fit right into that, not just Subaru, but most anything. So here's the nut, and instead of being dinged down here, it just pops it right back up. So I do that. These are 32mm. If you have an impact gun, that's the best, but if you don't, you can get a breaker bar, put it on there with a 32, get your buddy to stand on the brake pedal, and you can crack them loose that way. But you want to break them free before you go up in the air too far, but you do have to get the wheel off to get to it. So here's the bolt. You can see it's got all these marks and lines on it for reference, but you can just make your own with a paint pen or fingernail polish or whatever you got. Brace this one with a 19mm or 3/4 from the backside, and then zip it off with a 19mm impact or a ratchet and socket, whatever, on the other side. You can see that this is a cam bolt. When you twist this, now it's got a bulge at the top. Now it's at the left, now it's at 6 o'clock. So anyway, that moves this so that it'll come in or out so that your tire will have camber or not have camber. This one's got a mess of camber. Let me show you. See how this side of the tire is fine? And then you look at the inside, it's just bald and slick. It's just almost down to the cords. It's just a mess. So anyway, this one obviously is leaning this way. So if you mess it up, you get that kind of an effect. It's better for performance and handling, but eat your tires up. So anyway, this is the top bolt that's the cam bolt on this particular one. Then you got a couple of 12mm bolts. You've got one that holds your brake hose here, and then you got another one over here that holds your ABS sensor for your brakes. But you can just pull this out. That enables you to get your axle to slide out. If it doesn't slide out easy, you can take a drift and just hit it with the hammer, just knock it through. Just be careful not to hit the threads. Once you get it out, you can stick it over the top like this. These are nice because you don't have a lot of threads all the way to the end. You see how it's got that stub to the end of it? There's a better shot of that little slot. And that's just a retention thing. If you have your nut come off, basically what will happen is your bearing can separate. The two different halves of it are held together with that nut to your CV axle. So with that gone, you could have basically all of this half of everything come off with your tire. That'll ruin your day. So here's a little detail on that clip. You can see that it's open on one side. Watch, I'm gonna drop it. Boom, boom, boom. It moves around a little bit. So if you put a little grease on this when you put it back, before putting it back in, synthetic grease is usually compatible with any kind of gear oil or transmission fluid. Transmission fluid is synthetic anyway, but you can see right here where the seal lip is, and you can see this little shoulder that's been tapered. Grease all the way around where the shoulder is, grease all around where the seal mates up with it, and then everything in between. You can see it mates there too a little. Shiny lines. Anyway, Shine that up with some grease, and then you put it back in. The grease holds this in place and it lubricates as you put it on. So when it comes time to put them back in, support the ends as straight as you can get. You hold the end, you got a little bit of play on each of the boots. So our axle's out, we're dripping gear oil. You want to twist it until it's keyed up, and then you basically use the back end of the CV axle as a slide hammer. If it won't go, rotate it 180. Still won't go, rotate it, key it up. Bam. If you have to force it, or if you have to hit it back with a hammer, you're not doing it right. There's a little C-clip that's floating around in there. When you have that C-clip lined up centered, it's good, but if it's hanging low, it's gonna block. You're gonna have like a metal bar, essentially, a metal paper clip or something hanging down, blocking access. So you rotate it 180, it allows it and take off the pressure, and then hit it again. It should slide in real easy, like you saw.
Bonus footage at the end.
is Mike Seminoff.
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah.
My name's Charlie.
Charlie?
Great.
Mike's like Mr. Thrill Seeker, supermodel.
Come on, aren't we all? Come on. Thrill seekers all
He
around.
does it all and he makes it look good.
Well, that's good. The daredevil himself. Places where people.
You see somebody skydiving with a big American flag hanging off their risers? That's
him.
probably him.
All right.
He's making money. He's getting paid.
Yeah.
Mostly steering with your feet, huh?
Yeah. With your feet.
Then you got your hands free. You can do whatever you want with your hands. You can do this.
Yeah.
I was doing that a little
You can
bit.
do this. You just weight shift steering.
Yeah.
Look up
Suit
on
you
top.
got. That's a
Yeah.
nice suit.
It's nice. It's a winter
From
suit.
Parajet?
But he's having
What's
a
that?
hard time
From
coming
Parajet,
up
that's
in
where you
the
got it
field
from?
Yeah,
out there.
who makes the
Trying to
motor.
Take off, but not aiming into the wind.
Are there other companies
I
that
got
make
him to
stuff
take
like that
off.
as well?
First
Or?
thing he does,
Yeah,
he
I don't.
hits the
It came with the
fire
motor.
out of
It was like a
town.
special. Buy the motor, get a free flight suit.
Wow.
Last night I was on patrol. There was a funny
Real
call.
well.
American Port PD got a
I like
call
that.
for a lockout.
Yeah, it works out
Somebody
well.
left the keys in the car at Walmart.
It's just the glove thing. I gotta figure out the gloves.
Oh,
That's the only thing. If I can get a good
Intoxicated.
set of gloves, I'll feel
not,
good about
not
it.
warm enough?
It says,
Yeah.
look, put in the CAD
Not
that
so
I did
much.
not unlock
It's my
the
first time
car
wearing them. A friend of mine
because of
let me use them.
the other.
They look like they would do pretty well.
Yeah.
That's fine. We had a lot of funny calls. There's another call. The guy was
I think I need to get my core temperature
He was
warmer,
high on
and
drugs.
then it'll probably keep my gloves, my hands
Have you done
warm.
a,
Cool, man. I'm just gonna rip it right down there.
Have you been here before?
No, well, I used to skydive here years ago. We used to land right in front of that house.
did it kind of just go away?
No, I think they lost the lease to use this, and then they went out to Tooele.
Was it the same Skydive Utah?
Yeah. Oh man, cold hands. Whew. I needed to land and regroup a little bit.
I'm gonna check my glove switch. Hand's fine. This one not so much. Thanks for getting me to come out. Thanks for getting some footage.
Yeah, I might go up again. I just need to warm up.